Great. Thank you, Felicia. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another UV resin class. I'm Stephanie Menor. I'm the creative director here at Blue Moon Studio, and we are so happy to be with you again today, showing you some basics of UV resin craft. And today we're making earrings, all kinds of earrings. We're going to walk you through all of the steps you need to create an earring from start to finish. In fact, lots of earrings from start to finish. And we're going to show you 25 things that you can put inside the resin. Some things you may not have thought before. So we are going to switch to the other camera here. And as we do that, let me just click on that. As we do that, just a few safety precautions. You want to be working in a well-ventilated area with this product. If you have skin sensitivities, wear a pair of gloves. You don't want to be working near natural sunlight though. So if sunlight's streaming through the window, it's going to start curing this product before you want it to. So just be careful about that. Make sure you're protecting your work surface with a silicone mat or even just some paper, just to make sure this doesn't get on your desk and harden up for you. So let's get started. So you can see the different stud earrings that we have here. These things represent about 25 different things that you can put inside the resin. And each of them will eventually look like this, where you have an earring, obviously, and the back of the earring. These ones, we didn't put a back on them yet, just so they could sit up straight for you and you could see them head on. But eventually you're going to have this little metal part on there that turns them into a stud earring. So I'm going to move this to the side so I can show you the supplies that we're going to need today. Let me hand this to my faithful assistant, Rosa. Thank you, Rosa. Okay, so first of all, just my general setup here. This blue thing that you're looking at is a silicone mat. You can see it's on top of my work surface here. This is the extra large mat. We also have a small size. And then all of the projects we're using today are going to be done with this mold. This is our stud earring mold. And all of our molds show you a picture up here in the corner of things that you can make with them. And then on the back shows you the shapes that you can make. So you can see there's a lot of basic geometric shapes and some sort of fancier shapes. So, and then the other thing you'll notice is that there's some metal bits down there inside the package. Those are the earring backs that you'll need. So we've tried to make it pretty handy for you where you have the finding inside the mold when a finding is needed. So let's take a closer look at this mold. Here it is. And so you can see for these basic shapes, like these circles, there's 3 different pairs of circles here. So we have just sort of a straight, smooth circle. We have a faceted, you can kind of see the facets if I move that. And then this one that has that nubbly stone texture. So that's so we can fake up something that looks like a piece of druzy or like rough cut stone. Okay, so these are the shapes that we're going to make. So as we get started, you can see the chat is going. If you have questions, put them in the chat. I'll try to answer them when I see them. I will try. We also have some people from our home office. Jennifer Agnoni will be answering your questions in the chat. And so feel free to chat, say hi, ask questions. We want to hear from you. Okay, so along with the supplies, this is the most important one. This is the UV resin. So this is the 60 milliliter bottle. Comes in a lot of different sizes, but this is standard UV resin is a hard type resin, which means that when it hardens like a plastic. We also do carry a soft type resin. This one isn't as popular. You can see here it says soft type resin. When this one hardens, it hardens to like a gummy bear texture. So here is an example of something that came out of a mold made with soft resin. So you can see this is great for if you're making bracelet components that need to have a little bendiness in them. But all of the projects we're making today are made with hard type resin. Okay, other miscellaneous supplies, I have some wood sticks, I have some silicone mixing cups. These are all everything that we're using, almost everything that we're using. Some of these little things we're going to put inside the resin aren't sold in our section at Michael's, but in the jewelry department at Michael's, you will see our brand UV Resin Craft, and everything you need should be sold there. Okay. All right. So we have a lot to get through. So I'm just going to jump right in with our first project. So we're going to start you out with simple ones and then move you up to a little more advanced. So the simplest projects you can do with UV resin include putting something inside the resin that's just clear, but something in there. So these two items that I'm showing you are examples of filler kits sold at Michael's. This is a beach theme filler kit. So this has sand in it and shells and little flakiness and little metal and pearls. And this is actually semi-precious stone chips there. And then here's another, this is a galaxy filler, but these are great examples of things that can just be added to clear resin, and it makes a very cool but very simple project. So we're going to start with that. So we are going to start with, actually, we're going to go straight in with the resin. And I'm going to put a little bit of resin. Oh, this is not the right bottle. This is the right bottle. Put a little bit of resin directly into the mold. I don't want to fill it all the way. Just going to put a little bit. That helps whatever we put inside there to stick. So the first thing I'm going to do are these polymer clay slices. These are little fruit slices, but there's a lot of different polymer clay options. I'm going to show you this wheel. See these fruits? How cute are they? They're adorable. Okay, and so to put them down inside the resin, I have my wood stick. I'm going to wet the tip of the wood stick with a little bit of the resin, and then that's how I can pick up the fruit that I want and just lay it down in there. I want to take some caution laying it in there because you don't want to trap any air bubbles. And also you want to be cognizant, oh, maybe if I use this side of the wood stick, you want to be cognizant of what is going inside the mold first, because you'll see when I pop this out that what is down inside the mold, meaning underneath this side here, is the front side. So I'm just going to kind of layer these in. I'm going to do a strawberry here. Layer that. And then when I get these placed exactly how I want them, also I have a paper towel off to the side. That's just like to wipe off the tip of my stick so I don't get resin everywhere. So once I layer those in where I want, I can just put another dollop of UV resin on top, filling that mold. I can also go in, I'm going to poke at it just a little bit. You can get air bubbles trapped underneath these things. So I just want to make sure I didn't do that. Okay. Now that one is almost ready to cure. Well, it is ready to cure, but before I do that, I'm going to do a few others here, showing you some other things you can put in the resin. Here we have some seed beads. Michael's carries a great assortment of these. And I'm just going to dump them directly into this little space here. Patting those down in, and then I'm going to add another dollop of resin on top of that. And again, poke at it just a little bit. I just want to make sure that the resin flowed through this whole area here. All right, so next I'm going to show you another one. We're going to go for this star shape. Again, going straight into the mold with the resin. And here I'm going to show you how to use stickers. So these are just some holographic stickers. There are so many beautiful stickers at Michael's, though. You can use anything. If it's not the right shape, you can cut it to shape. But we are going to do we're going to do this sticker here. See here I have a purple star. So I want to put it so that the front, the purple side, is toward the bottom. I'm just going to lay that down inside the resin. And then adjust it with my wood stick. Again, I want to make sure that there's no air under there, so I'm kind of wiggling it around. And positioning that where I want it to go. And I'm going to fill the back with more resin. Fill that. You want to make sure you fill your molds to the top. So resin, it can contract a little bit when you cure it. So those are 3 earrings that I've done in the space of a few minutes. Here's what they look like close up. Looks like the little leg of my star sticker got smushed in there, but we'll see how he turns out. Okay, and now the next supply that we haven't talked about yet is the UV light. So here's our UV lamp sold in stores. We have 2 colors. This one's white. We also have a pink, and it has 1 button at the top. When I hit that button, you can see that UV light comes on. I can toggle it off and on. If I hit it and don't touch it, it runs for 1 minute. All right, so I just put my mold underneath there and we can cure that. So typically cure times for these type of things where it's clear, you may only need 2, maybe 3 minutes. If you've put a lot of stuff in there, a lot of tint, a lot of glitter, it's going to block the light. So you may need a little extra cure time. So you may need 4 minutes under this light. The really cool thing about UV resin though, is it will cure in the sun. So we live in Southern California, so we have sun all the time. And it's actually my favorite way to cure this product because you just get this deep cure from the sun that in 5-7 minutes is fully cured. All right, so this has been in there for less than a minute. This, as I said, it has a 1 minute timer, so it hasn't gone off yet. Oh, there, you just saw that it turned off on its own. So that's 1 minute. Now, if I kind of push on here, I can see that this is cured, and you can hear that. I mean, that's hardened in only 1 minute. But I am going to run it again. A little tip I will show you is because our molds are so clear, you can actually turn them over and cure the bottom side. That is another tip I'll give you is whenever you're working with UV resin, you want to make sure to use a completely clear mold. This is a high quality silicone mold. You'll notice all of our molds have our name right here, Blue Moon Studio. That means they were designed by us and made specifically for Michaels. So you can see how clear it is. There are low quality silicone molds out there. There are opaque silicone molds out there, like candy molds. I'll show you. Here's like a candy mold. It's opaque. This will not work with UV resin. It just will it won't really cure right in an opaque mold. You need to have a clear mold for it to look right. Here's another example of a silicone mold that is kind of clear, but you can see the difference, the clarity. This will work with UV resin. It just won't give you the best quality casting. Okay, so these went for 2 minutes. When you pick it up, you'll notice it's a little bit warm, and that's normal. So that warmth comes from the chemical reaction that's happening as this hardens. So I can pop this out. You can see what I have. This is the seed bead one. You can see what that looks like. And then here is the clay slices. And then here is my little wonky star. with his little his little arm is turned down, but I'm sure when you're doing this on your own, you will make that perfect. All right, so we have 3 down. 1, 2, 3. We'll put these to the side. Let's keep going with more stuff. Okay, we do have a question in the chat from Kristen. She asked, can you put resin in sunlight if it's cold outside? I think is the question. And she said she's from Utah and it's like negative so many degrees there. I have not tried it in extreme temperatures like that. I know on our package it says that you're supposed to keep it within a certain range, like for storage. So I'm not sure that I have the right answer for you. I can tell you though that it should cure in the sunlight, even at negative 20 degrees, but I'm not sure. Oh, in a picture window inside, yes. So you can absolutely put this on a sunny windowsill and that should be enough. Just be careful if your windows have like a UV coating that's blocking the UV light, that might be a problem for you. But if it's just a clear window pane, it should let enough UV light in to cure. Thank you for your question. All right, let's keep going. Next, we're going to talk about dried flowers. Dried flowers, very popular thing to use in the UV resin. And you do want to use dried flowers, dried or preserved flowers. You don't want to use fresh flowers because they may look good when they go into the resin, but they have such high water content that it will eventually fade and maybe even like blacken and mold, and you don't want that. All right, so here I'm going to show you, we sell a full range of dried flowers. So here's one of the mixed packages that has several different flower types and also some greenery in there. All right, so I'm opening that up. They're very fragile. And so here's what that looks like inside the package. This is what we want to make though. Let me show you. So I need to clip off a little branch of this that will fit inside my mold. So let's go ahead and do this leaf shape. So using this leaf, oh, some pieces are falling off here. As an example, let's see. I'm going to choose this little branch here, and I just cut it with some scissors. And go in with some clear resin directly in there. I don't need a lot. I just need something that's going to help this branch stick in there until I'm ready to cure. Now, when I did that, let me show you really close. You can see there's a little air bubble right there. I can just pop that air bubble. Oh, and I got it on the first try. All right, gold star for me. I can pop that bubble and get that out. All right, so going in with a wet wood stick, picking up this branch, putting it in here. And it will break apart if you're not careful. That's okay, because we're going to spread these little leafy bits out. Here I have another piece here. And just put those in. I'm kind of scraping the wood stick against the sides of this mold. Just trying to get those little leafies to stay in there. And you can add as much or as little as you want. I have another little bit right here that I'll fill in. Okay. And then you can fill the rest of the mold with more clear resin directly from the bottle. And I want to encourage it to flow. This particular shape, you know, has these little side parts. So I want to encourage it to flow. And then I can see that I need a little bit more. There we go. All right, so that's what it looks like. So as we do that, I'm going to add another. So we have some gold flakes. I love the look of a metallic with a greenery like this. Let me just put some out on my work surface here. So these little flakes look so pretty, kind of like interspersed. You get that juxtaposition of natural and blinginess. So we're doing a twofer over here. We're putting two different things in this big giant piece there. But remember that what we're seeing here in the back, in the top edge, is actually going to be the back of the earring, which does make it fun when you go to demold it, because you're kind of seeing that front side for the first time. All right, gold flakes. All right, sink those down in there. And then also what I can do is I can lift this up, and because it's so clear, I can look underneath and see if I like where these things have ended up. I'm just going to move them around a little bit. More gold flakiness. Okay. All right. And then I don't think I have it filled quite to the top. So let me put another dollop. All right. And that's ready to cure. Let's do another one before we cure that. I'm going to go in with one of these hearts and these dried flowers. This is like a dried lacy flower. We keep them inside these little blisters. This is how we like to store ours, so don't throw that away. It's a handy little blister. And the best way to deal with these is, again, they're very delicate. So I'm trying to be careful here. I like to snip off the little kind of like bud areas. And it almost turns into like flower confetti, but it's so pretty. These little, this purple color. I'm just going to snip off the sides there. Okay. So then when you have a little pile, I'm going to go in with some clear and just pick them up, place them one by one. And the great thing about UV resin is, you know, it's really on your time schedule. I can leave this where it is now. I can come back to it tomorrow, next week, and it's still going to be in this liquid form as long as no UV rays have touched it. We, as an experiment, we left one like some liquid resin out just here in our office to see how long it would remain liquid. And after a few months, we ended up just curing it anyway with light because it stayed liquid. It did not change at all. So you have plenty of working time. All right, and you can load this up with as many flowers as you want, but that looks good to me. Now you'll notice that I haven't filled it up yet. This mold cavity is still only about halfway full. And the reason for that is I've just taken the time to put all of those flowers in there. If I go and drop this directly, if I drop more resin into there, it's going to just like disperse. So what you can do is do a little pre-cure. So I'm going to bring my light in and I'm going to pre-cure that for just 1 minute. And it just locks all my work into place. In general, any type of layering that you can do with UV resin is good. It loves to be layered. And I'm going to take this opportunity to try to clean up my workspace here. Here's our example item. You can see about how many flowers we put into that one. All right, so this has gone for less than a minute. That's really all I need. If I tap on this, you can hear that that's solid now. I'm going to fill it to the top. I can go around the edge a little bit with my stick just to make sure that's not puckering. All right, let's cure it again. Now, I've seen some chats come up. I have missed a lot of your questions. Jen, did you have any questions for me that you haven't been able to answer yourself?
A lot of people have been looking for larger molds. I don't know if that's easy to do with UV resin.
Yes, so we have a wide variety of molds. This mold that I'm showing you, this earring stud mold, is probably the one with the tiniest little pieces in it. But we have anything from like sort of a charm or pendant size up to like a keychain size mold. Anything larger than that, if you're wanting to do like a trinket box or bookends, or, you know, these, when you get really large, you might want to think about using a different kind of resin. UV resin is perfect for small things, which is why it's perfect for jewelry, because it's, you know, small little detailed items. So really large molds, like there are resin molds out there for shelving and trays and paperweights and things like that. I really would recommend a 2-part resin for that. All right, so that's going. We'll let that go for the full 2 minutes. Again, you can see here's our sample items. And this one, Rosa really found the perfect leaf in there. Each leaf is different, of course, it's a natural growing item, but you can see she really took the time to place each leaf inside the little parts of the mold. Can you use it for a bangle bracelet? Absolutely, and that's a great segue while this is curing to show you my selection of bangles that I have here off to the side. So here we have some bangles, and I'm going to show you what we made them with. This is made with some tints and some glitter. This one is made with some seed beads, just poured in there. This is made with candy sprinkles from the grocery store. How cute is that? This one, we used some plastic letter beads and spread and made some little phrases in there. This one's glitter, glitter flakes, more glitter. We love glitter. This is made with little dried flowers, little dried flower buds. Here's some more polymer clay slices, fruits, and some more dried flowers. Yeah, and to the person asking about metal molds, you do not want to use a metal mold with this because UV resin sticks to metal. You'll never get it out of that mold. The reason we use silicone is A, because it's clear, and B, because resin doesn't stick to silicone. All right, so let's demold these and see what we have. Here's our dried leaves and flakes. And here's our dried flowers. So I want to show you. So this is it straight out of the mold. You can see that there's a little bit of flash here on the side. Do you see how it's kind of uneven there? It's very easy to deal with. I sometimes just take my thumb, kind of run it along there. You can also, you know, get an emery board and kind of knock off any burrs. But that is what our little dried flower turned out to be. Okay, so how many have we done? We've only done 5 items. Ooh, we got to get going. Okay, let's go here. Next, I'm going to show you different ways to tint the resin, and then we're going to use all of those together in a piece. So here I have 3 silicone cups. I'm going to put a tiny bit of resin in each one. And I am going to tint one of them white. I'm going to put just 2 drops of this tint. These are resin tints that are sold at Michael's. This is really the best way I've found to tint the resin. This is what it looks like. This is like our primary mix. And then we have a black and white and red. Little bit goes a long way, very concentrated. So this is really the #1 way to tint resin. However, there are lots of ways. So here, this other way is just with regular acrylic paint. This happens to be a metallic paint, but this sort of really inexpensive craft paint works very well. I'm going to take a little bit of it on my wood stick. And again, a little bit goes a long way. I put more on the stick than I wanted. And just mix that in. I also got a little dried bit of paint that was in the cup. It's okay. I mean, in the bottle. So we're going to keep that really light and translucent. Okay, that's paint. And now I'm going to show you actually 2 different things. So this is a piece of chalk pastel. We have any artists, you know exactly what that is, but a piece of chalk will work too. And I'm just going to scrape a little bit in there. Okay, that's another way to tint, is with any type of pastel. Okay, and then here I'll show you another one. This is mica powder. So this is basically what they make eyeshadow out of. Let me get a new stick. Put a little bit in there. You could also use eyeshadow. If you have loose eyeshadow, it will work to tint the resin. Let's mix that up. Okay. Okay, so let's use all of these together. Oops, I didn't mix this one up yet. All right. All right, so let's do the moon. So we're just going to add drops. I'm going to drop this one by one in here. I'm wiping my stick off in between. Drop a little bit of this in there. And then maybe a little more of this pearly one is really pretty. And I'm dropping it one by one because I want the colors, I want there to be some color separation inside there. All right, again, I can pick it up, look underneath and see what's developing. And then I can go in with my stick and kind of swirl it if I want to, or leave the colors separated. Let's see. There we go. All right, and so I'm going to move these colors out of the way. When you use a silicone cup to mix, make sure before you cure, you move them like to the side, because you don't want that to cure in the cup. All right, this one we are going to cure. We inevitably get asked about how do you clean up? So I'm going to show you that now. All right, so when you have a silicone cup that you've used, it still has liquid resin in there, just put it next to your thing that's curing. And the easiest way to clean it up is just to cure it. And then you can just peel it directly out of there, and it's very satisfying to pull that and peel it. And it's just the easy, it's much easier than like dealing with it when it's wet. So we are going to cure this alongside our little moon. And so while that is curing, I'll show you. We keep, well, you know, like any crafter, we're kind of hoarders. So we keep our leftover resin that was in these, look, that was in our cups. Once we cure it, we just keep it in a little bag. And then what you can do, and this is really cool, what you can do with all those little leftover resin bits, you can just cut them up so they look something like this. And then you can use those as inclusions inside your resin. So this has gone for about 1.5 minutes, and I want to show you. See how it just like kind of pulls out of there? Very easy to clean up. Let's turn that off and show you how to use these little leftover resin scraps. Filling with clear resin, and then dip in the stick. And then using this method, you can get kind of a stone look, a terrazzo look. Get one of these blue guys here. And it's just a great way to use up your leftovers. Make something new. Okay. All right, let's fill that to the top. Now notice I was a little messy when I poured that. I don't know if you can see that well, but I kind of did a little bit of a over pour. I'm just going to clean that up. Easier to clean it up now than to scrape it off once it's hardened. Okay. All right, so here, here's what when we did those scraps, what it can look like. We'll see what our new one turns out to be. But as we're doing that, we are going to talk about photos and paper. So this is a picture of very cute, two cute little dogs that we found on the internet. And you can see how nicely they work in an earring. We filled the back of this earring with a white color. And that really helps the picture pop. You want to do a light color or a white color in the back to make that pop. So here, let's see. I have, I printed this out just on our office printer, the cute little dog. You could also print out words like here, mom. But the easiest way to do this is to take something that had already come out of the mold, lay that on top of your picture and trace around. Okay, so let's see. All right, so that is what our little doggy is going to look like. I'm going to ask Rosa to cut that out for me, though. Would you cut that while I move on? Okay, so while she's cutting that for us to show you how to work with photos, we can demold. This only went from 1 minute, but I think it's ready. Here's what that looks like. And here's our moon, our swirly moon. Anytime you can get multiple colors instead of one color, it just kind of elevates your design and makes it look more expensive. If you're somebody that is giving these as presents or selling them, that is a factor for you. Okay, I'll show you another way to use the mica powder or eyeshadow or any finely milled colorful powder. What you can do is just with a brush, you can brush it directly into the mold. And I'm going to use this one here, which has this texture on the bottom. So that texture will pick up the powder. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to put that in there. And then I have some of my leftover colors from the last step. I'm just going to pour that in there. So just another way of working with tints or ways to colorize the resin. You can brush it directly into the mold. And that one got a little messy, but she'll be okay. All right, so before I cure that, I'm going to show you another way of working with this. This is such a versatile product. I'm going to go in with a little bit of resin into this one. And we're making something that looks like this. This has gold flake and then a dark colored back. So I want to start with the front face, which is the gold flakes. I can use these gold flakes that I used in the other step, but I'm going to go with this like authentic looking gold. I don't know if this is actually real. I got to look at that. I'm getting in there with tweezers. Kind of breaking this gold flake apart so that I can have little bits go in there. And then going in with my stick to place them. Okay. All right, and then we're ready to kind of pre-cure. All right, we're getting there. We've done tints, we've done acrylic paint, mica powder, eyeshadow, dried flowers, dried leaves, clay, like polymer clay, stickers, photos, confetti, foil, and beads. So we're getting there. All right, so I'm just kind of pre-curing. While that is pre-curing, let me move this a little off to the side. I just want to mix up a dark color. Let me really move this because I don't want it to touch what I'm doing here. Mix up a black. Here's our black tint. Oh, this one isn't opened yet. By the way, when you do use the tints, you need to snip off the tip when they're brand new out of the package. Got it. And shake them, please. They will settle. So I'm going to put actually 3 drops of black in there. Now, if you put too much tint, it will affect the cure. So just add a little bit to start. They're very concentrated, and then certain tints are even more concentrated than others. Like our blue tint, for some reason, is super strong. You need to put like a one molecule of it in a cup like this, and it will colorize the whole thing. Okay, so we have our gold flakes. Let's add a little bit of a dark background to them to really make them pop. And we're filling the mold to the top. Okay. All right, and then these can go cure for longer. Okay, so next thing, certain things I'm not going to walk through the whole process, but I'll show you examples of. But first, let's get back to our little pug friend here. So let me actually get another mold so I can double up. So here's our pug friend. He's going to fit into this heart perfectly. We're going to add just a little bit of resin. And I want to scooch that around so that it fills the mold, the bottom of the mold. And I want to check for air bubbles. And then just take our pug, turn him over, place him down in there. And I'm just scooting him around. I just want to make sure that I didn't get like an air bubble trapped. And I have some of that white. So I want to make sure there's a layer of white behind it. All right, let's cure. We're going to switch these out. I'm going to pre-cure that. I don't want to fill it all the way to the top with white. This one's gone for a few minutes. Let's pop him out. So here, this is where I brushed the mica powder inside the mold first. So you can see how it picks up the texture that was naturally in the mold. And it looks like, if you look at it from the side, you can really see the texture. It looks like Jersey. And let's keep this one close to that light so it can continue curing. Okay. All right, so here we haven't done this or this or this. Here. Okay, here's shells. Okay, so let's let this cure. And I'll show you, this is our pug. We need to fill the back up with resin and then put that back under the light. There we go. Okay, so while that's going, we're starting to have a big collection here to the side of these earring components. I'm going to show you how to attach the back. So as I said, the findings come with the mold, and this is what it is. It's an earring post that has a little tiny pad on it. And you get the earring backs too. And so you want to just look at your casting here, determine which side is the front and which side is the back. This one, both sides are very clear. So I can really decide. I think I'm going to decide that this is the back. And then I just put a little drop of UV resin. So this is another use for UV resin, is as an adhesive, very powerful adhesive to bond metal to plastic, metal to different porous surfaces and non-porous surfaces like glass. And I'm just making sure that this post is completely surrounded by resin. I don't want the resin to just be underneath this pad because the light can't reach it underneath the pad, but it sure can reach anything that's on top there. And let me just lock that in place. Kind of adjust how these are so that everyone gets a little bit of the light. And once you can see how quickly that grabbed, I can pick it up by the finding now. And I usually like to kind of hold the lamp. I just want to make sure that every little piece of that resin is getting some light. Okay. All right, what else do we want to cover? Well, glitter, of course. Let's see. Stickers, chain. I'm not going to show you chain, but I'm going to show you an example of how to use chain. This is regular ball chain. We just set that inside of a mold with clear resin. But look at that cute texture that it makes. We also use chain here on this made up and used it to kind of be a little frame for what we put inside the butterfly, which is seed beads. All right, so I'm going to show you that. Here are some other projects with stickers. This is stickers are a great way to use a monogram, to make monogram jewelry. Okay. And then I'm also going to show you some more projects with photos. This is a little mini Christmas ornament that we made with a family photo. There's another one using a bezel. This is a little bit of a different technique. Here's another one using a mold. And then I do want to show you this one. This is a very cool way to use dried flowers. We took one flower and just cut it down the middle and use that in 2 different earrings so that they make a perfect little pair. Love this. Paper. Here's more paper. This black rectangle is actually just a piece of paper that I printed out, and it has my son's initials on it. And so I put him inside of a bezel. Here's another example of tints being used. So we used the tinted resin to paint a little lemon slice on there. And actually on the other side has a little, so you can make it double-sided as well. Let's see. Okay. All right, so this is gone for a little bit. You can see this is how you turn it into an earring. There you go. All right, and then let's pop out our pug. Oh my God, I just love pugs. How cute. Personalized gifts here, folks. Love it. And then this was our gold foil. You can see on this side, you see I have that little like nubbin. You can also go in with like a wire snip like this and just clip that off. If it still has any jaggedness, you can go in with an emery board. All right. All right, show and tell, more show and tell. This is actually, would you believe that this is made with just a piece of cord? We just coiled it up and put it down inside of a mold and poured some resin on top of it, but this is satin cording. It looks something like this. This satin cording. Coiled it up. Very cool. Let's see,
Stephanie?
what else? Oh, yes, sir, ma'am.
Felicia. There's
Hi,
a couple of
Felicia.
questions that I noticed that came through that if you could speak to it directly, if you
Yeah.
know how the holes are made, once you actually pop them out of the mold themselves,
Okay,
and also
sure.
the drill.
Sure. So I'm going to show you an example of another mold to demonstrate that. So our molds sometimes have a hole already. See this little peg here and this little peg here? That's going to make a hole at the top. So this shape is right here, and it already has a hole through it. However, some shapes do not have holes through them. This leaf doesn't have a hole. This flower doesn't have a hole either. So when you do not have a hole, you can create one. So here is a leaf that we made with this mold, and we drilled a hole in the top of it in order to put this little, it's the screw eye in there. So let me show you how to do that. Let's find something that we can drill into. Let's see here. What can I drill into? Okay. All right, perfect. Here I have a little donut. It does not have a hole in it, but let's say I wanted to create a hole there so that I could hang it. As soon as I find my drill, oh, here it is. So this is the little hand drill that we sell. And this part twists, and that twisty part you put in your palm like this. So you can hold it and twist it at the same time. And so so I can put the hole this way. So sort of like perpendicular to the face. No, this would be parallel to the face. Or I can put a hole this way, perpendicular to the face. Depends on what you're making and how you're going to use this. So I'm going to go in here. Actually, I'll go in here. So I'll show you. This might seem a little harder, but just place the drill and add a little bit of pressure and start to turn. And it just pretty quickly bores out a little hole. And then can I have a screw eye? I'm going to show the whole findings kit too. Okay, so I can keep going. I can go all the way through that. But you can see where that hole is. I can't, oh, there it is. You can see how deep we got just in that time. These little things here, these screw eyes. This is what they look like. Let me find it. Where did I put that hole? Here it is. Okay. And now to add that finding, I like to just put a drop of UV resin on the work surface. I grab the screw eye, dip it, and put it directly in there. And cure it. And that'll just lock it into place. And now I have a charm. I can use that to connect it onto whatever I need to connect it to. Okay, normally I'd let that go a minute, but you can see the end effect. So yeah, I'll show you. Somebody asked about dangly earrings. Here's a good example of one. So you can take two shapes. Here we have a circle shape and a teardrop shape, connect them together. And this is what this earring looks like. So they're really endless combinations of ways to use these shapes. Both of these shapes came from this mold, which is a great earring mold. Okay. All right, so we are wrapping it up here. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll leave you with this, which is to connect with us. So we are Blue Moon Studio. We are the manufacturers of this product, and we would love to hear from you. We'd love to see what you guys are making. So anytime you post on Facebook or Instagram, use the hashtag UVResinCraft. That's the name that's right on top of our package here. And we check that hashtag. We love to see what our customers do. And then you connect with us at bluemoonstudio.co on Facebook and Instagram. And then you can find me personally on Instagram at Stephanie Menor Creates. I would love to see what you're making. So thank you for those of you that lasted this long. You guys are the real deal. Thank you so much. And we do these classes once a month. Please join us for the next class, and we'll see you. Thank you.